What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Welcome back, fellow streamers, to another episode of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Christian coming at you. We are back. We have a whole lot to discuss, from the Penguin to Agatha All Along to what we're going to be watching next on this show. We have our Spotify Wrap 2024 to break down, and we'll get into the news and notes all around the streaming platform Multiverse and the box office. But before we get into everything, make sure you're following us on the socials, just StreamerSZN and StreamerSZN Pod on TikTok. You can follow Christian at the Wiz_PHI. You can follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple, Spotify. Leave those 5-star reviews. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. Helps more people find the entire network of Underground Sports Philadelphia, and lets us do more dope stuff with and for you guys. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's where you get full video episodes of this show, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. We're at 877 subscribers as of this recording. Let's get to 900. Let's get to 1,000 before the end of the year. And
we have a dream.
We have a lot in store once we get to 1,000. If you guys forget, I'll be watching season 1 of Game of Thrones if we get to 1,000 subscribers. So
I forgot about this. I forgot about that. But what was our dearly departed time slipping Dylan supposed to be doing?
What was Dylan supposed to do?
Was he supposed to dress in a costume?
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be a costume voted on by the listeners. That's right.
I still think we have to hold him to that, even though we
absolutely 100% agree. Absolutely has to happen. But yeah, we got a lot to dive into, including the Penguin, which we're going to kick things off with, and it is brought to you by Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. I just took advantage of their Cyber Monday deal earlier this week. Buy one, get 2 free. How you doing? Keep it moving. Tomahawk Shades is the best small batch eyewear in the industry. The quality is second to none, and the price is double second to none. It is truly the best. There's no reason that you guys should be going out and spending exorbitant dollars on sunglasses, on blue light glasses, on prescription lenses, when Tomahawk Shades is giving you high quality for a fraction of that price. Go to tomahawkshades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app in the App Store or Google Play Store. And when you go to checkout, use code USP and you'll get 25% off your next order with our friends at Tomahawk Shades. That's 25% off with code USP at tomahawkshades.com or in the Tomahawk Shades app. Christian, the Penguin was an absolute banger of all bangers. They done did it. They done created a masterpiece HBO Sunday show from a comic book storyline, and it was magnificent through and through. And I need the next installment of the Matt Reeves Batman villain verse on HBO as soon as possible.
There's something to be said, and I know I'm the guy who shits on Marvel as much as possible and who shits on Star Wars basically second as much as possible. But it's nice when you have a singular vision for something and you have an environment that feels tangible and not just the volume or a soundstage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice when you have good actors, and it's nice when you actually feel like there's stakes in something.
Yes.
And this show did all of it. Like, this show, was led by, he doesn't have an Oscar, but he should have an Oscar, in Colin Farrell,
That's
who's
crazy to think about.
who, for my money, Colin Farrell's one of the most talented actors working, just in things in general. You have what I would easily say is like one of the better female comic book villains we've seen in 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 Sophia Gigante, because we're going to respect her wishes.
Can we also take a moment? I don't know if you knew this. This is my first knowing of this. Did you know Kristen Milioti's from Cherry Hill, New Jersey?
I didn't know that, but it feels right, given that just like that name feels very like Italian from New Jersey vibes.
Holy shit.
Come on the pod. Come on.
My fandom of hers was already through the roof. I thought she was phenomenal in this show. Now I like her even more because she's of South Jersey descent.
South Jersey descent. Haven't heard that one before. Haven't heard that one before.
She is South Jersey's own Kristen Milotti. That's incredible. She's from Cherry Hill.
Come on the pod.
Come on the pod. We need that.
Yeah. But I would say it's probably, if we just took like the last, I don't know, 10 years into account of comic book stuff, it is Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and Amanda Waller. And then this. Like, I think that's it for all the pseudo antagonist roles / hero in the case of Harley Quinn. I don't know. It kind of jumps depending on the movie and the role.
That's a good point with Amanda Waller. I like that.
Yeah, like how do I put this? This was this had the Amanda Waller, like, I'm intimidating the ever living shit out of you vibes, but from a woman who, she like, how tall is how tall is she, like 5'4", 5'5"?
Let's see.
like she
5'2".
5'2", like, okay, so like,
she's like 6'5" presenting.
yeah, it's in my opinion, and this is more of an image thing. It's her face, it's her eyes.
Yes.
They're cold. They're emotionless. It's how she holds herself. It's all the subtle things of her walking into a room, toying with someone, speaking tongues and riddles, and just working her way through a world. And we'll touch on something that I really enjoyed with the very end of the final episode with her. But she definitely was a standout. Farrell obviously was a standout. And it's also was, before diving deep, just a very fun show to have that guys pop up. Like, obviously we have, and I'm gonna pull up the cast list for this, because while they're all great that guys, it's also like I always forget all their names. So I believe the first one coming to mind is Michael Kelly, who is in almost anything you'll see him in, playing some form of fixer or that type of figure. Who's the guy who's playing Rex? Because he's another like ultimate that guy. Rex.
uh,
Lou Cancelme. I CANCLEC. Cancel MI. I don't know how you want to spell it,
we're not
but
trying to cancel you, Lou. We're just trying to pronounce your last name.
yes, I have Italian heritage. Even then, I'm struggling. Okay. But he's a guy who's been in and out of mob movies and stuff. Like he was in The Irishman. He was in Killers of the Flower Moon. He was in Boardwalk Empire. He was in Blue Bloods. He was in Billions. Like this is like him playing a gangster is like very much in the ilk of things he's done in his career. And obviously, before we harp too much on it, it's nice just to see Clancy Brown do Clancy Brown
He's
things.
awesome. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't think Clancy Brown has ever been truly bad in anything,
No.
and it's always fun just having him pop up in these comic book adjacent things, whether it be in The Flash, whether it be here, whether it be in any number of untold things. So yeah,
Daredevil.
I am very happy with this show, and I think we should get into some more talking about the beats of how it's gone since we last talked about this, which it's been quite a bit, Kyle.
Yeah, it has. And I mean, like, I feel like this show did such a good job across the board where, like, yes, the show is titled The Penguin, but the development of roles in this show and the character progression in this show from Vic to the Hangman, which I love that dynamic where it was Sophia, but also they didn't plaster her like surname of the Hangman, her villain name, as something that they use. Like her crime boss name was villainous enough in this show for them to just refer to her as Sophia.
Yeah, there's even or even when she reverts it to Gigante
Mhm.
over Falcone. Gigante, big, like it's there.
Yes.
It's almost more menacing. But off of a point you made there, it's not even that it's just about the Penguin. It's about Gotham.
Mhm.
It's about Gotham City. Like I know we had a TV show ages back named Gotham that was his own weird sideshow, which I watched for like the first three episodes when it started. I'm like, not for me, not for me, Chief. But this, like the the Matt Reeves movie did a great job of establishing the base,
Yes.
and here it wages into it it does what a good TV what a good IP based TV show movie can do, and take the end result of something that happened in the movie and blow out the world in a way where the stakes still feel meaningful, where you feel like the world is growing, where it adds on top of the movie. So when you go back to the next movie, you feel more layers of things. You can feel more things that may be lurking. And that is what this show has done.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a Batman property, but they did such a good job of conveying so many stories and character building of so many different characters. Like I said, from Oz to Vic to Sophia to Oz's mom to all the gang bosses and underlings to Clancy Brown. Like,
I'll 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 give you a perfect example, and I know I'm jumping the gun because I referenced it earlier and wanting to talk about it when we talked about the story arc as a whole. But just the subtle way of how it's, hey, here's a letter from Selena Kyle. She says she's your sister, and they don't make a big deal out of it. She's handed the letter. She reads it. She chuckles. We don't know what it says, but we
Mhm.
can kind of have an idea of like he was a bitch. He sucks. I we both kind of have the same thing. And she just she just chuckles. Like it's it doesn't have to be some grand thing, and that's what this Batman universe is. It's not grand. It's no one's really happy. It's it's just happening.
And that's what Batman's ethos is, where it is this extremely street level story, this street level world that a guy who has bazillions of dollars just goes out and is a vigilante and, you know, fights crime and everything. But there's so much crime going on because it's just what makes Batman go. And the cool part about this show, too, is that it builds out the character development of so many villains, so many underlings of villains, that it gives you an inside look at the inner workings of the crime situation in Gotham without having to introduce Batman ever.
And it's also like it somehow manages to s- to seed some underground cry notes of who may be showing up in the coming years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they did such a good job. Like you said, like the note from Selena Kyle, like that is an Easter egg in and of itself that's front facing because you know where she's coming from. You know, the Court of Owls teases, the Scarecrow tease that happened that a lot of people found after the show ended. There was
Wait,
a
I don't think I even
Yeah,
noticed.
I didn't see this until probably a week or so ago. Um there was a tease in episode
Just tell me the is it
episode
the guy
4.
she was? Okay.
It's when they are in someone's office. I'm trying to remember whose office this was, but on the table, there's two like glove mechanism looking things that are the
Ah.
exact things that the Scarecrow wears. Um, so that could be a little teaser. Um, and then people are wondering if Julian is the Scarecrow, which would be
So
pretty awesome.
so that's what my reaction to you saying that was. But it's nice when a comic book property can be subtle about these things.
Yes.
Because listen, we all love that 10-year run from Marvel, but all that shit was just hitting you with a sledgehammer of dopamine hits
Hmm.
where they're they're selling you on all these great things, and you just look at it now and they're still trying to sell you on these great things, but it's like I don't know when we're getting Brett Goldstein and Hercules to fight Thor when we have no clue when Hemsworth is showing up again. Like
Hmm.
it's they're selling us something Harry Styles and Eternals 2, and we don't even know if we're gonna get Eternals 2, let alone have let alone have anything that happened in Eternals be acknowledged aside from them mining the giant statue that's there that we've almost not acknowledged at all at this
That
point.
is allegedly going to be acknowledged in the year 2025 when that movie came out in 2021.
Yeah, problems, guys. It's we're two properties into the Reeves verse, and it's already just feels nice.
Mhm.
It just feels nice. It feels dirty, but it feels nice.
Oh yeah, and I think the cool part too is like that Easter egg happens there with the Scarecrow
And none of us
mechanisms and
notice.
stuff. You don't notice, but it also is cool that that happens where fans can speculate about a character like Julian, but the show lets Julian be Julian the entire time, and there's no lead in, there's no build up to set an expectation. It's just left there, and if you stumble upon it, great. but it's not meant to be in your face and kind of build up to be this big thing because they're not ready to unveil that yet. And I think that's something that Matt Reeves and this Batman universe have done really well, is just contain expectation
It,
and make you live in the moment of whatever project they have out in that time.
it is the level of self-control and the level of self-confidence that we're going to do what we plan on doing, and we believe that you're going to buy in because we are getting you invested in these characters, invested in the story. Like even though it's just a battle for even though it's just a battle for the drug game, and we know the Penguin will end up winning in the end because he has to win in the end, we're still terrifyingly nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And that says something about just like the level of what this show is able to do, the level of care that's put in by people who actually care and who actually are given the budget compared to other shows. Like this is what I'm about to say is not fair to the Penguin or the show, but this reminds me of Andor, where it's just like you're giving smart people a long form story, a good budget, and a relatively big sandbox to play in within the reasonable parameters of a thing X, Y, and Z, and they basically hit it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the show, like you said, like you're always on your toes, nervous about what's going to happen to Oz, and as this show progresses, you feel that way about every single character. You feel that way about Sophia. You feel that way about Vic. You felt that way down the stretch about Oz's fucking mother, who, in the grand scheme of this universe,
He's a piece of
doesn't really
shit.
have a major part. She sucks, but you felt that way because of the storytelling and how the web unwound itself. And that's just brilliant, like script writing, that's brilliant casting. And I thought from top to bottom, every character was so high stakes, from the minimal crime underling to Vic to every member of the Falcons to Oz to just everyone involved. Their role in this show was high stakes no matter what role they were playing. And I thought that was a cool aspect and a great take on a comic book story that at the end of the day, you don't have to be a comic book fan to enjoy this show.
Yeah. It's the same principle as Andor. You don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy Andor. It's like my dad, who doesn't give two flying fucks about superhero stuff, will just like had HBO on, stumbles across the second episode of The Penguin, and he's like, "What's this show?" Yeah, like this is a guy who loves mob stuff, and he got hooked on it. Like it's
You had Dave Portnoy preaching about how it was the best show on television. Like,
which easy Dave, but it's like like this is the problem with Marvel. Marvel is a property which ultimately is playing towards the broadest possible audience. And I get why. But that's not good. That's not what's best for the long term. Sure, it's theoretically best for your financial long term, but it's not best for the art. And if you can do something like Andor, and what was Andor rated? Was it rated M? Was it rated TV-14? Because I know Marvel won't do a crime level thing. Like they had their chance with Echo, and they did a very soft. Like I know they're going to do Daredevil. That's going to be their swing at this essentially when they're rebooting Daredevil. But they need to rethink their TV and movie philosophy to go back to just like even go back to that final stretch heading into Endgame and Infinity War when we had when we had stuff like uh Civil War and Thor Ragnarok and Winter Soldier and just all the stuff in that run where it's like this is genre. Like you are going hard on genre here, but it's also like you're having a good time and it feels like you're making a genre movie before you're making a superhero thing.
Mhm.
And Marvel isn't doing that anymore. And I think if Marvel wants to like get back on the horse, they have to focus on genre first, like and not focus on superhero genre, focus on theme genre
Mhm.
and build your superhero story into it.
And like, dare I say, Marvel, we've talked about this a ton on this show too. They put themselves in this like cookie cutter formula of it needs to be 6 to 9 episodes, 30 to 44 minutes. I feel like they short sell what they're potentially capable of when you look at a show like The Penguin that episodes bare minimum were what, 54 minutes or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was an HBO show.
Like
It was an HBO show.
you gave purpose and you gave a reason to sit down and watch every week, or if you're watching on a binge side of things, to sit down and watch 3, 4, 5 episodes at a time. And they're hour-long episodes that you get invested in and you get entrenched into the universe that you're in. And I feel like Marvel sells themselves short with that time over time because they're like, oh, we gotta give the attention span to the 10 to
To the
14-year-olds that are watching, 30 minutes is the most they can handle. So let's do that. And it's like you eliminate so much of what you're capable of because you put a time restriction on these episodes.
and 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 we have to do it in a way where there's something that people are going to want to post on TikTok. Okay,
Ugh.
well, we've mused about this for about 20 something minutes now, so let's just quickly run down the plot, starting with episode 4 because we did the first 3.
Yeah.
And so episode 4 is the flashback of
Which also this
Sophia.
show did a great job of portraying flashbacks.
It's almost
Good
like
concept.
it's almost like you know if you place the flashbacks well and do it in a way where it doesn't kill momentum, gestures towards a certain show that came out, and this
Yep.
was that like it's all about the placement where it's like here. Vic gets to spring Oz, and Sophia is left there at the hands of the Maronis.
Mhm.
And what do they give us? They then give us the history of the relationship between Oz and Carmine. And then in episode 5, they bring us back with how Oz is going to get back at the Maronis. So it is a soft bleed off from episode 5, but it's not like you're jumping straight back in. You're jumping in with something that almost feels like a day or two later, and not
Mhm.
in the immediate aftermath of the third episode. And it's the same thing when what's the other flashback? 7, yeah,
7.
7. Which that isn't a full on flashback, full episode like the other one is, but it it opens with how Oz basically became a piece of shit.
Mhm.
But it also shows us Rex, and it shows us the guy Oz idolized, the guy who we talked about people having a parade for, essentially. And it gives you not only the Oz psyche, but they mix in the Oz who's fighting for his life essentially. And it's just smart. It's just smart filmmaking. It's smart TV making. All right, let's you are the great summarizer. So do you want to try and do the Cliff Notes version of 4 through 8?
Yeah. And I mean, I think with episode 4, the big like talking points there is like you see Sophia, you see her trapped in the inner workings of her mind, and that is Arkham Asylum. And I think that's such a cool portrayal of her as a villain, is that the way she operates is her trauma from all the electroshock therapy she goes through, from being gaslit into believing one thing that was not true and things that were true, and hearing the inner voices in her head that just so happened to be her neighbor right next door to her cell. And I think it's such a cool presentation of Arkham Asylum, is seeing the inner workings of this criminal just hub in Gotham, that it can be personified and represented as the inner workings of Sophia's brain that are just brought to life, and the way that she operates through Arkham. She battles through everything, and then at the end of the day, she ain't getting out because people are trying to keep her in there, and she's stuck in her own head.
She's stuck in her own head, and she punishes those who put her there.
And then, like at the very end, when she spares her cousin's young daughter, she puts Johnny Vitti at gunpoint. Like, it's just perfect crime boss shit.
It's for the lack of a better comparison, it's Michael in the Italian restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It's Michael in the Italian restaurant, because it's spoiler. I'm gonna break the fourth wall. It's 11:23 at night, so I'm not so my brain's not exactly flipping through the Rolodex as quickly as I'd like at the moment.
But it's such a good episode, and it's like such a good mid-season episode too, where like you're getting what makes Sophia tick and why she's so radically crazy, and
Yeah,
it's so brilliantly like displayed.
yeah, and to jump back on a point made, it's not just that they did flashbacks good; it's that they placed them well.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they placed them at good points in the story. So that basically summarizes 4. We go to episode 5, Homecoming.
And you get the kidnapping of Maroni's son in exchange for the Bliss shipment that gets stolen, and during the trade, a guard bribes Oz to try to assassinate Maroni, and now you get the inner workings of the chessboard in this episode, where you see the players who are out there, and now it's a matter of who's going to take out who first.
Man on man defense. Who's going to win?
And you get when joined by Rush, who fell in love with her, Sophia rebrands the family to her mother's name, Gigante, which is just like such a powerful moment. They're at that table. She drops the fucking money out on the table. She shoots Johnny Vitti in the head, and the literal representation of blood money. And it was just such an awesome scene. And it's one of those moments during this show that there were many of them where it happens and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, this was the Oz is in trouble moment more than episode 3. This is the oh no, it's like 3-on-1 for Oz now.
Yeah. He's got triple coverage on him. He loses the support of his lover. His mom is, berating him for forcing her to hide in an apartment, and it feels like everyone's going against Oz. And then he remembers about the Underground Railway, shows it to Vic. They declare it their new base of operation to regrow Bliss. And at the end, it's like, okay, maybe he does have an out here, even though everyone's against him now and turning against him. He's going to go underground. He's going to go into the tunnels and get this Bliss thing going again to regain the trust of people who maybe he necessarily shouldn't trust, but it's kind of his only way out.
Yep.
And then it's like, it's the perfect, like, that mid-season episode happens. This is the perfect, like, all right, now we're coming down the roller coaster hill, and now it's time to like start swaying towards the tail end here. But it was a perfect episode 5 in my opinion.
Yeah, it was just great. It was just great stuff, which then sends us to the kind of hinge episode, I would call, of this season, where where Oz basically reaches his lowest, Sophia reaches her highest, and it truly becomes a 1v1.
Yeah, so this is when it gets back to like man-on-man defense, man-on-man offense, and Sophia and the Maronis, they go off and kill several bliss dealers as a warning to Oz to decide and Oz decides to give away bliss for free to raise demand across all the gang territories. Vic gets confronted by his friend Squid, who's a drug dealer from his neighborhood, and asks Vic to let him join the operation. And then, Vic has to do what he did and turns on his boy, and pop, boom goes the dynamite.
It is what it is.
You're a real criminal now, kid. Oz, threatens a corrupt councilman to restore electricity to Crown Point, and sets a meeting with the heads of the other gangs, who he convinces to work together against the Gigantes, the Maronis, and the upper elite. Sophia and Sal break into Oz's apartment to find leverage against him, and Sophia discovers a photo of Eve. So then Sophia goes and visits Eve, threatens to kill her to get to Oz, but Eve gives up the location, which is just like,
it's not even that she gives it up. It's that those two engage in a battle of wits of two extremely strong-willed women, one of which who's basically unafraid because she's like, you can kill me. Like, I understand the game. Just don't mess with my girls.
right.
And because she didn't kill her, she's like, okay, here's this little thing that I'm giving you the minor bit here. Do with it what you will. You didn't get it from me. And so just a great example of playing the game. Playing the game, which leads to what I would think is like one of the creepiest final shots in an episode of comic book TV, with just Sophia standing there with a fucking crowbar.
As Vic and Oz's mom are dancing.
Dude, I saw that show, I'm like, oh no.
Real villain hours. Which brings us to episode 7, and another great usage of flashbacks to really, like you said, kind of get the inner workings of how Oz ticks. Now we're getting the inner workings of his brain, where he still kind of sees himself as this young kid who's just trying to appease to his mom and wants all that affection from his mom, has to whack off his brothers. They're dead from a tunnel. Has to just appease the inner workings of his mind. He comes back to his apartment, finds Vic injured, which in that moment I was like, oh shit, is he dead? Like, did she whack him? But he's alive, reveals that Sophia kidnapped his mom. And Vic escapes right before Maroni arrives with his men, and Maroni beats Oz and has Oz take him to the underground lair. And Oz and his men stage an ambush, and Maroni dies of a heart attack while fighting Oz. And that was just an awesome, powerful scene for him, because it's like, oh, he got the upper hand. Now he took out one of the big players on the chessboard that he's been battling this whole time. And it finally felt like Oz got like a keystone victory in this whole drug war.
But it's great how Oz was like, nah, I don't want to win like this. Come on now. Come on. Yeah. No.
And meanwhile, Sophia has Rush interrogate Francis about Oz's weaknesses and visits Gia after learning she intends to cooperate with the police. Lets her know, hey, your parents were bad people, and I'm glad they're gone. And it's like, what a thing to tell a little girl. Sophia considers accepting Oz's ultimatum to trade Francis for her bliss supply, but Rush convinces her to go through with her desire to see Oz suffer. And during the trade, Sophia sends in a bomb that destroys Oz's base and kills his entire crew. And then Oz survives.
Kills most of the crew.
True. Oz survives, resurfaces, only to be knocked out by the detective. Sophia bribed to kidnap Ervad, which that was just an awesome ending to that episode where it's like, Sophia wants to see you, whack, move to credits. I was like, oh, shit.
And then we culminate with a great or little thing.
Just a perfect finale episode from top to bottom. Just, it was so good. It was so well done. Like, using the EMDR therapy, Rush learns that Frances already knew about Oz drowning his brothers and tried to have him killed, but couldn't bring herself to do it. Oz is brought to Sophia, who makes Frances confess the truth. Oz refuses to admit the actions, even as his mom's finger's about to get fucking chopped off. And I was like, oh my God, please don't do it. Please don't do this. I can't do this right now. Tortures her, causing her to disown him before suffering a stroke. And Oz escapes, kills the detective, which was another great scene, walking outside, shoots the dude right through the head. Imagine watching that in 3D. Splat. Brings Frances to the hospital. Meanwhile, the local bosses abandon Oz for Sophia, who puts a bounty for Oz as she prepares to leave Gotham. And Vic arranges for the bosses to be murdered by their deputies, who help Oz abduct Sophia. And instead of killing her, Oz has police contacts return her to Arkham. Oz and Vic visit Frances to celebrate, only to learn she's entered a vegetative state, causing Oz to break down. Later that night, Vic tells Oz that he views him as family, which Oz reciprocates. And then, what do you do to family, Christian? You murder them.
You smother them.
Oz murders Vic, saying that family makes people weak. And meanwhile, Rush, who has returned to Arkham to care for Sophia, hands her a letter from her half-sister, Selina Kyle. Oz takes the vegetative Frances to a new penthouse suite where he dances with Eve, dressed as Frances, as the bat signal shines in the sky.
Which, again, they don't make a big deal out of it. But it was, I will say, it was funny watching this show and listening to people go, they do know the Batman exists, right?
Right. Just so good. And like, that's the perfect way to show that, like, here's Batman, but we don't have to show his face.
Yeah. I wasn't keeping up track, but do they say the name Batman once?
I don't think they do.
Which is brilliant.
It's so good. And you know, like you said at the beginning of the show, like, they don't make a big deal about the Selina Kyle thing. It's like, you know who that is. You know what's coming. We're getting another Batman movie. We're bound to see Selina Kyle. And it's just so well done across the board. Like, what an awesome show.
Just a big clap. Shall we give it a grade?
Let's give it a grade, Christian. Where do you have the Penguin falling in line for our 2024 docket?
I'm gonna give it a 9-1.
It's big score right there. So 9-1 goes to the Penguin. I am right in that range. I'm gonna give it a 9-3. I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and like I said at the top, like, I can't wait for them to do the next Batman movie. See who the villains end up being in that movie, which we obviously have a little inkling of who it could be. But then I can't wait to see what the next show in terms of the villain verse, because I feel like they can operate that way. They can do a Batman movie and then build out this version of Gotham and punch out another, hole in the drywall. And here's this part of Gotham with this villain. And I think it's doable. They showcased it in this. And I thought the Penguin was absolutely brilliant. Job well done across the board to everyone involved.
Wholeheartedly agree.
So my 9-3, your 9-1. That makes this
9-2?
a 9-2 overall show. which becomes our second 9 and our first live action 9 of the year, joining X-Men 97.
Which this is gonna be a statement I'm about to make. That does not feel like it was this year.
Right. It's
It
crazy.
feels like it was ages ago.
Yeah, you know what else was this year? Echo.
Yeah. I was keeping track of some movie stuff. I was like, the Fall Guy came out this year. Like it's been one of those years, man.
Oh yeah. Which brings us to our next program breakdown. Before we get into Agatha All Along, I want to tell you guys about our awesome merch partners, PHI Apparel Company. I'm rocking our StreamerSZN hoodie right now. PHI Apparel Company is the best place for Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast merch, including StreamerSZN shirts and hoodies. You want to support the show, it's the most effective and efficient way to do it. Go get your merch from our awesome merch partners, PHI Apparel Company. Stand out in the crowd, whether you're watching shows and movies at home, going to the theater to watch your favorite show at the box office, or you're just out and about hanging out with friends. You want to stand out? Get your Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast merch, your StreamerSZN merch, phiapparel.co. And if you want a nice little discount, use code underground and you'll get 10% off your next merch order with our friends at PHI Apparel Company. That's 10% off, code underground, phiapparel.co. Agatha All Along, Christian. We go from crime to witches.
And hold on, I'm gonna start by saying this. I'm gonna have you take the lead on most of this because I'm gonna say this now. I respect this show. It wasn't my cup of tea, so I'm respectfully not gonna contribute to the rating of this because I don't think I'm gonna be fair to this. So
I will say there were moments in the show that was like, okay, like good, and then there were really, really good moments, and then there were moments where I was like, kind of missed the mark there with this one. I think Agatha All Along did serve a purpose in the MCU, which I think we've missed out on in a lot of the more recent MCU programming that we've gotten. You know, this show was not Secret Invasion. This show was not something that
was hyped
felt like
even remotely.
right. And it didn't feel like it like the purpose was there. Like you felt like there was a significant build off from this. There was a great character introduction from this, and I think this being the second like it made sense as I was watching this too, Christian, that what they're going for with this whole 3-part saga of this, with WandaVision to Agatha All Along to what the White Vision show, Vision Quest, whatever they end up calling it, is going to be. This being like a middle part, watching it from that lens, and we knew that going into this show too, that was the case. Watching it with that lens made me appreciate it a little bit more, knowing that this was kind of like the midpoint of something larger. I thought, you know, Catherine Hahn is fantastic. You want to put Catherine Hahn on my TV, do it as much as you want. She was
100% agree. Catherine Hahn is a great actor.
Physical form, in ghost form, everything. And I think that's a cool way of how they're going to keep her around. Because, you know,
Force Ghost Catherine Hahn.
Yeah. Like give me Ghost Catherine. And I will say this show in particular, for the first time in a long time with any MCU property, did a great job of using source material, using the comic books to your advantage. What did Secret Invasion completely flop on? Not using the source material. What have a lot of these shows flopped on? Not using source material. I think them using the House of M, the introductions of Agatha throughout Marvel Comics, and you see it on screen. I thought they did a great reflection of that in this show as a whole. And that's when Marvel's been at its best, is using the comic books that are inspiring these projects to be put on screen. When they're not using them, you can tell. And those projects typically are absolute shit.
And some are even struggling to make it to the screen somehow.
Right. I personally enjoyed Joe Locke a lot. I thought he was great. His role in this MCU is going to be awesome. I think it's perfect character casting. I enjoyed him a lot. I know you enjoyed, as you once called her, Mommy, quite a bit. Aubrey Plaza.
Who?
Mommy Death. She was great as well. And I know it's not going to be the last we see of her in this MCU. She was great. And I thought the casting in this show, too, was better than a lot of the MCU casting we've gotten in a while from a lot of like the ancillary pieces in this show, where we've had characters, it's like, oh, big casting, but what was the payoff of paying for that actor or that actress when at the end of the day their character didn't end up meaning much? I thought the overall casting in this show was really well done.
Yeah, this show overall really ended up hitting the casting mark and just the vibes mark at times quite well. I have my own story things, but I'm not about to go on about story when I'm not the biggest fan of all this to begin with.
I think the show did a good job of like I'd say from episode 1 through 6 was good storytelling, good building of what the show was, building out characters and seeing where things were going to play out. I thought episode 7 was fucking awesome with just the dynamic of Agatha and Billy and getting a proper flashback to Lilia's first lesson. And I genuinely really think that there were really good episodes in this show that it was like, oh, this is when Marvel can be at its best. This is what they do really well. The episode when you see the whole thing where the castle turns upside down and everything and the different quests that each witch in the coven had was great. I think where Marvel missed the mark with this show is one of your best witches and one of your best character portrayals, you just sum it up that it was Agatha who did that to her the whole time. And it's like, come on, man, like what are we doing there? And it was one of those things that at the end of the day, I think a lot of people caught on to the fact that Billy Maximoff's character, everything was just created by him, and people were like, oh, that is the route that Marvel went with this, is that it was created by him, when we kind of already figured that out halfway through the season. And I felt like the ending, while you get good backstory on the entire thing of what was told in this story and how the Witch's Road wasn't real and Billy conjured the whole thing and it was just Agatha's way of absorbing powers from people, I felt like you could have done that earlier in the show and kind of had that as back pocket information, or use that as something to like bounce back and forth from, where like the last episode felt very rushed and very like, oh yeah, we did have 2 episodes cut from this show, so we got to try to fill in all the plot holes as fast as possible, and that was a bummer. I'm not going to say they didn't stick the landing, but I feel like they rushed the landing, and maybe, coming in a parachute, you didn't get your knees properly and you maybe broke a couple bones here and there. But overall, I think looking at the breakdown of Marvel shows that we've gotten on Disney Plus is certainly not one of the worst. Is it the best? No. But I think it's one of the better shows we've gotten that serves a purpose, gives a great character introduction for Joe Locke and Billy Maximoff and Wiccan. I thought the Wiccan entrance was great. Good use of a banger of a song by Billie Eilish to introduce Billy's alter ego. And I think Ghost Agatha is going to be a very fun player overall in the coming years with the MCU, but there's definitely some positive. There's a lot more positives I took away from this show than negatives.
I just realized something, and I want you to hear this to see if I'm too far off. This is just a worse version of Hawkeye, where you have the older standard character. You're introducing new blood who will kind of take over the mantle and take over said person's place in things. You're doing this shorter episode run over a condensed period of time. There's a certain level of going back to the past, whether it be the flashbacks for Yelena or the car crash and the party stuff.
I get where you're coming from. There's definitely a comparison to be made. I don't know if it's worse Hawkeye, but it's in that same vein of Hawkeye.
I enjoyed Hawkeye more, but I guess what I'm trying to say is these two shows feel similar.
They parallel a lot.
Yeah.
Where it is introducing a young Avenger, it's introducing a Thunderbolt and a young Avenger in Hawkeye's case. But I look at, this is the 11th show that Marvel has put out on Disney Plus. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If Season 1, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, What If Season 2, Echo, Agatha All Along.
Yikes.
I think we both agree Loki Season 1, 2, top of the list.
Yes. Secret Invasion, bottom of the list.
Secret Invasion is definitely bottom of the list. I think WandaVision probably checks in at number 2 for a lot of people. I would say Moon Knight comes in at number 3 for me. I would say Agatha All Along kind of checks in some sort, however you want to posture them, kind of in a similar grouping in the Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk realm, where like those shows kind of are in that same tier category. Echo kind of feels like its own thing almost. And then What If and X-Men 97 and everything are in the animated space. So take those for what you will. And then Secret Invasion is below 10 piles of dog shit.
Insert the Moneyball meme for that one.
Yeah. Like Agatha All Along, I did not hate it. Were there parts that I was like, damn, I wish they would have executed this better? Yes. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad show. Is it a great show? No. I think it's right in the middle. I think it's pretty good, solid. I think it served a purpose where a lot of those shows that we just rattled off didn't really serve a purpose. I also forgot to put Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I kind of put that in its own realm too because of all those script rewrites, and you could tell that
feels bad, man.
Yeah. Like this show, I think more than Secret Invasion, I think even more than, as of right now, She-Hulk. There's still some to, the jury's still out on the Hawkeye situation when it comes to the Thunderbolts coming out. Like Agatha All Along serves a purpose for moving forward, which is nice. It's not like stuck in its own little box as of this moment, which I think is a positive for this show. And I mean, you look at everything else, like the next show to come out is in a couple of weeks. It's What If Season 3. And then 2025, it's Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, another animated property. Then March 4th is Daredevil Born Again. And then Ironheart officially coming out June 24th, 2025. So did they do a lot of good with this show? Yes. Were there some things that I was not a fan of, that I thought they could have done better, that I thought they missed the mark on? Yes. At the end of the day, I am
You're
looking
human.
at overall scores that we've given past MCU shows. And let's see. I gave Secret Invasion a 6.9. Nice. Just to be nice. Agatha All Along, I think gets a 7.8 from me. Served a purpose. Was very fun the entire time watching it. Had a lot of moments I was like, "Oh, that was good, Marvel. Good job. Like, let's keep that up." They had a keystone episode, in my opinion, and I think Joe Locke and Catherine Hahn were fantastic in this, and it gets a 7.8 out of 10 from your boy.
Sounds like a plan.
Pop that onto the list. And there we go. Agatha All Along is all done. Next up season, though, is here, Christian. And before we get into next up season, want to talk to everyone about our friends at Paramount Plus.
Woo woo.
Paramount Plus. We're a Paramount pod. We love Paramount Plus. We have said it time and time again, bang for your buck. It is truly an incredible streaming platform. And from live sports to their original content to the back catalog of shows and movies that they have, it is truly an incredible streaming platform. And Christian, guess what? We have a trailer we get to watch.
Let's go.
Because right now, we're in the wee hours. We're about a week away from witnessing the beginning as Dexter's darkness first comes to light in Dexter Original Sin, streaming December 13th with the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan. When his bloodthirsty urges can't be ignored any longer, young Dexter Morgan must learn to channel his inner darkness as he transitions from student to avenging serial killer with the guidance of his father, Harry. And we've got the trailer for you guys right here.
I am a killer, but I wasn't born this way. I was made by my history, by the people around me. They say it takes a village to raise a killer.
I can get my satisfaction.
I mean, what a perfect song choice.
Yeah, so every time I watch that trailer, I always go, "That's always a fun song choice."
It's so good. An absolutely loaded cast too for the show.
Which I will say, if you're looking for someone to be in a show about someone creepy, just call up Christian Slater, man. Like
Yes.
it's typecasting, but man,
It's so
he gets the
good.
job done.
So, Dexter Original Sin is streaming December 13th with the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan. Use our link in the description to sign up for Paramount Plus with Showtime to get started and stream Dexter Original Sin streaming December 13th with the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan. Speaking of next up, Christian, we've got a couple shows that are underway now that we'll be watching. Number one is Creature Commandos that we have been both super excited about since the announcement for that show happened. I'm very excited for Creature Commandos.
I am looking forward to a zany James Gunn show, even though it wasn't led by James Gunn. And I saw rumors that there's an animated James Gunn in the opening credits of the show.
Oh shit!
So yeah,
That's fun.
we'll talk about that.
That's
at
fun.
some point next week, hopefully. Shrug. We'll scheduling things fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely all in on that show. It's in my vein of DC, where you guys know me when it comes to DC content. I am a Batman stan, and I am a full-fledged Suicide Squad type of person, and Creature Commandos is just that. So I'm very much looking forward to watching Creature Commandos, which it was one of the first things that popped out when James Gunn announced that he was going to Warner Brothers and going to be heading DC. Like, it's just going to be so much fun, and knowing what James Gunn is capable of with properties that
Guardians.
aren't well known, like Guardians of the Galaxy, it just has me over the moon excited for what this show is going to bring to the table. Plus, my guy David Harbour and Frank Grillo are voice actors in this. Like, I'm so giddy.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's amazing. So Indira Varma will be playing Bride, a member of the Creature Commandos. GI Robot is also a part of the Creature Commandos and a military android whose purpose is to kill Nazis.
Which we'll talk about it in news and notes, but GI Robot may play a surprisingly key role in the future of the.
Yes. Weasel, who we have seen, is going to be a part of this bad boy. He was compared to the Tasmanian Devil from Looney Tunes, which is hilarious.
I mean, just like Adam.
Exactly. Alan Tudyk is going to be Dr. Phosphorus, who the animators considered morphing his skeleton to show expressions, but before deciding that his lack of expression suited the character. Clayface is going to be a part of this bad boy, and Tudyk will be voicing him, and he will also be voicing Will Magnus, a scientist who Tudyk based his performance on director Mike Nichols.
That's interesting.
Zoe Chow is going to be Nina Mazursky, a member of the Creature Commandos who and an amphibious scientist. David Harbour will be playing Eric Frankenstein, the bride's love interest. I'm so excited for that. Like, that's so good. And then Frank Grillo will be playing Rick Flag Sr., who we have seen Rick Flag Jr. as the leader of the Suicide Squad. And we will also
see Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. in the Superman movie.
Need it. And then recurring character, we'll get Maria Bakalova as Princess Ilana Rostovich, the heiress to the throne of Pokolistan. Gunn developed the character with Bakalova in mind, including having her be Bulgarian like the actress is. Bakalova was the first person cast in the DCU, so a little fun trivia fact there for everybody. And then Anya Chalorda will be Cirque, who is a rogue Amazonian sorceress who seeks to become ruler of her homeland. And then we will also get Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. And then we will also get Peter Serafinowicz. Thank you. As Victor Frankenstein, a scientist and the creator of Eric and the Bride, which this show is just going to be so batshit crazy. And and we're also getting Weasel's lawyer voiced by Linda Cardellini. Michael Rooker will also be a voice actor in this. Greg Henry also. I mean, the cast is loaded, and like, what a perfect way for James Gunn to welcome himself into his DCU than with just animated zaniness. And I think the cool part of this, we talked about this when James Gunn took over, is that the animated stuff is canon to what's going to happen, and it's going to be crossing over between animation and live action. So know that this is like the first full-fledged installment into James Gunn's DCU journey,
which will make it even more fun. But something that could be even more fun than that, on the day after Christmas, Kyle, Squid Game Season 2.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. So excited. Like, what a perfect layup for everyone. Here you go. You're not doing anything the day after Christmas. Let's watch an absolutely torturous and suicidal game in Korea happen.
Let's make everyone think about capitalism and not at all about the United Healthcare CEO.
Which I was talking to Stephen McAvoy yesterday because I'll be at his wedding this weekend. That happened like That happens 7 blocks down the street from his job. Christ alive.
Was Steven the killer?
Subject says I'm gonna lean no, but also I couldn't help but laugh. I know it's a shitty situation, but the news report that said the killer on the bullet left a note and somebody put the Jersey Shore. I saw Ron with a girl at bed note on the bullet. I was like, oh, the internet. Yes, I'm excited for Squid Game season 2. I'm so pumped. That first season was incredible. We will definitely be watching that, and I know it has started just as Creature Commandos has, but I'll also be watching Skeleton Crew on here to break that down. I know it's gotten a lot of really positive reviews. I think it's got like a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, which for Star Wars, that's a big positive because Star Wars fans hate everything. But I'll definitely be watching it.
No. Do they really hate everything? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Yeah, they apparently hate everything. So for Skeleton Crew to have a positive score is pretty wild.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a wild concept there from everyone. And here's the thing: it's great here. 3.7 stars on Google reviews. Oh, it's so funny.
Did you hear that, little Timmy?
And here's the I think you and I view Rotten Tomatoes on a similar scale. We try to look at the critics, but also look at what the fan reception is for shows like this. Right now, let's see what the fan meter is. I mean, it's 95% on the tomato meter, and is the popcorn the fans now on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah,
so fans
right side fan score, left side critic score.
So critic scores 95%, fan scores 83%, which that might as well be 100% when you're talking about Star Wars fans. So that's pretty good. Right now, Creature Commandos is a 93%, and an 81% from fans. So I'll definitely be watching Skeleton Crew, and since that comes out on, is that a Wednesday drop? Typically,
No clue.
Let's see the schedule here. December 10th is what day of the week?
Well, it's 4 days from now.
Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
So Tuesday nights that comes out. That might be something that I'll talk to Harrison because I know he's a Star Wars fan and he's back in the fold. That Wednesdays we might record a Skeleton Crew segment for this show. Positives though, episode 6 for that show, Bryce Dallas Howard is directing, and that's always a banger. And John Watts is leading the charge on this project. So I'm excited for Skeleton Crew. We'll see how it all shakes out with that. But those are 3 things that are definitely next up. Is there anything else that you have next up in mind, Christian? That,
I think this month is pretty empty. I'm sure when we talk next week, I'll probably think of another thing. But we did not have the chance to talk about some things that people probably would have loved us to talk about. Arcane Season 2, among other things. So we may have to engage in catch-up season.
Catch-up season, and we're not talking Kendrick Lamar's DJ Mustard.
We will be all right.
The overall consensus, though, is we have a lot of things in the docket, which are very exciting. I know we talked about it a bit, but Deadpool and Wolverine's now streaming on Disney Plus, so could be something we go back and watch.
We're setting up to have a real fun slate next year, though.
Yes, which in the coming weeks we will have our most anticipated projects of 2025 list. But let us know in the comment section. DM us shows and movies that you're watching that you would want to see us partake in watching. But I think without any further ado, let's head on over to everyone's favorite segment. It is the Streaming Platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by our awesome friends at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. And Christian, this holiday season, residents in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware areas can give the gift of beer, because Kenwood Beer, for December only, is offering home delivery to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware residents. While they can't guarantee a delivery date, if you order before December 18th, there's a good chance it arrives before Christmas Day. You can get beer delivered to your house in either 6-pack 12-ounce cans, 12-pack 12-ounce cans, or 12-pack 19.2-ounce cans, also known as the Big Kennies. Go to kenwoodbeer.com and get beer delivered to your home this holiday season. Order before December 18th so that there's a good chance it arrives before Christmas Day. And you can use the Kenny Finder at kenwoodbeer.com to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in either the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, or Maryland areas. You can also find it at your local liquor stores in those markets. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly. Christian, I think we start with what a killer Thanksgiving weekend it was at the box office.
Thankfully, I didn't have to work it.
Ooh,
Like,
that is a
no.
dream come true.
So I somehow didn't get scheduled on Thanksgiving. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much. I was scheduled the day before, though, and I got out at 6 p.m. Our first big wicked chunk of the night was at 6 p.m. It was 250-ish plus people, and I'm like, have fun cleaning that theater, guys.
The only box office day that was bigger was the Saturday, I think it was, of Avengers Endgame.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Which is crazy.
I know I've brought this up to you multiple times, and you'd have to see the movie. But can we drag your theater co
Yeah,
onto chat that movie?
The newly named Teacher of the Year at Buena Regional High School, Carmen Bryant. Shout out. Well deserved. Yeah, Wicked's been crushing. I still have to go and see it.
Well, yeah, obviously, but if
I'm hoping I'm able to sometime next week. But yeah, I will definitely figure out
broach that topic
around.
for her. Because I have thoughts. I'm
scrolling the timeline right now, and a couple hours ago, our friends at Culture Crave tweeted a screenshot from Creature Commandos.
God.
That Shaggy has been spotted smoking.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Shaggy is canon.
Roix, Raggy, he's roking Reed.
Love it.
This is pretty interesting. Via New York Magazine, Pete Davidson reveals SNL cast members get paid less than $3,000 per episode.
Doesn't fully surprise me, if I'm being honest. I'm just pulling something up at the moment. Don't mind me. Do you remember the date of our last episode?
I can tell you in just a moment.
Because I'm trying to get a list of everyone who's died.
Ooh. And while we look up both of those things, the Harry Potter TV series had over 32,000 kids audition for the lead roles.
A show I have zero interest in watching.
Christ alive. The last time we recorded was... Where is this list? We'll find this. October 8th.
Okay. So, um, just to quickly run through a few. Rest in peace. Wait, nope, hold on. He would have been covered during it. Hold on. Yeah, just keep musing while I try and put together a list of people.
This is pretty wild. Avatar: The Last Airbender and Overwatch 2 are releasing a collab on December 17th.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
see, so I was on this trend ages ago. About 3 or 4 years ago, Fortnite went from being a game to being a children's advertising tool, and that's all it is anymore.
yeah. James Gunn told Josh Horowitz of Happy, Sad, Confused that he contemplated bringing Robert Pattinson's Batman into the DCU. Quote, but I'm committed to both telling stories in the DCU and Elseworld stories. I want the freedom to tell Elseworld stories.
Totally fair.
Hell yeah.
Let me throw in some people. Tony Todd, rest in peace. The iconic Candyman. Quincy Jones, one of the most iconic music producers of all time. I think it's fair to say. As I keep nope, that one would have been just inside the range. Never disregard that one. Yeah, but there's a bunch of people, and obviously we could do our own. We could probably do our own in memoriam at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But
this might be something we have to put on a quote card, even though it came out a couple days ago, but it's just so funny. Mike Myers to Vulture, he shares his reaction when he was pitched to star in Shrek, which, if you don't know, he wasn't the original casting. Quote, that's the worst fucking title I've ever heard in my life.
yeah. We've been getting trailers for a Snow White movie, which I refuse to watch on principle. Like, hold on. No. To be fair, I enjoy Rachel Zegler. I wish the best for her. You're not getting me to watch that movie.
No. Brother, ew.
Our first 2025 show may have to be The White Lotus, though, as it's rumored to be dropping in February. So we may have to get you on the White Lotus train.
What's the premise of that show?
It's basically a satire of the rich, and it's basically these people check into this hotel, but it's like one season it's in this place, another season it's in another place, and there's maybe one or two recurring people. But so this
kind of Knives Outy in that sense.
No, it's more so just like showing you how dumb rich. It's labeled as a black black comedy. So, for example, the first season includes people such as Molly Shannon, Jennifer Coolidge, Alex Daddario, Murray Bartlett. Season 2 had F. Murray Abraham, Jennifer Coolidge, Tom Hollander, Michael Imperioli, Theo James, Mommy Audrey Plaza. You didn't hear me say that. And season 3 is a very, very, very fun cast, including Carrie Coon, Walton Goggins, Scott Glenn, Jason Isaacs, Parker Posey, and it's set in Thailand. It's set at the White Lotus Hotel in Thailand.
I found this pretty interesting. Culture Crave posted this as well. Denzel Washington's highest grossing films, his 10 highest grossing films. Number 10, Deja Vu. Number 9, Inside Man.
Spike. Love Inside Man.
The Equalizer 2. Number 7, The Equalizer 3. Number 6, Christian, can you guess it?
Equalizer 6.
The Equalizer. Number 5, The Pelican Brief. Number 4, Philadelphia. Number 3, Safe House. Number 2, American Gangster. And number 1, Gladiator 2.
Good for Denzel. I recently saw something that I'm not about to say, but I'm happy for Denzel, and I'm looking forward to however many more years of acting he's willing to give us.
Hell yeah.
In things I'm not happy for, Barry Jenkins is already bemoaning his Lion King movie that's coming out on Christmas, where he's basically saying he doesn't want to do this again, and also there's talk that he may have not had final cut on the movie, which I'm like, I'm not touching this thing with it. Like I was already not planning on touching this thing with a fucking 10-foot pole, but now I'm really not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole.
No, I do have to wish this is wild because she looks nothing close to this age. A happy 60th birthday to Marissa Tomei.
Fair.
She does not look 60 at all.
Yeah, no, she's a
timeless wonder.
She looks quite good. Let's talk about a man who has won and lost in the span of the last few days. Barry Keoghan.
She said please 3 times, Barry. She said please 3 times.
Okay. Anyway, so Ringo Starr says Barry's going to play him in Sam Mendes' Beatles films, and he and Sabrina Carpenter are going on hiatus. Brother in Christ, how do you fuck that up?
She asked you to not embarrass her, motherfucker. She asked you nicely in song. God damn it, man.
I guess the Irish can't handle Philly people.
Philly runs deep, man. Philly runs deep. Shout out Sabrina Carpenter. I want to talk about another guy who's won and lost in the past couple of days, Christian. Joe Burrow. He's not winning football games, but he won an auction to get the fully functional Batmobile from The Dark Knight. Paid $3 million for it, but guess what? Here's a plot twist. It's not street legal.
Yep. Well, hold on. If we want to talk about someone who won multiple times in the span of the last 2 weeks, do we need to talk about Josh Allen?
Yeah, congrats to Josh and Haley Steinfeld. Power couple that does not get talked about nearly enough.
Well, I also think it's because we don't see them together that much.
Very true.
Because they both have very engaged lives and very
they're a badass power couple though. Like sneaky under the radar, like both crushing it at what they do. Very happy for Josh and Haley. Did you see the stitched, no pun intended, of the original and the live action remake of Stitch stomping around?
I'm refusing to watch anything relating to that. Thank you. I'm standing my ground. Disney, why the fuck are we doing this? To be fair, I know why they're doing this. Money, but I'd like them to fuck off, please.
I'm just mad that I was not afforded the opportunity to be cast as live action Stitch voice actor. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I feel sorry for you. Okay.
It's some bullshit, Christian. It's some absolute punch buggy bullshit.
Oh, Jaja and Lilo? What are we doing? I'm the king. Come here. I have a friend for you. Gringo. How the fuck do I do that dude's voice? Anyway, let's get this on rails because I have to wake up in under 5 hours now.
Here's a show that I would have never expected my parents, more so my dad, to watch, but he fucking can't wax poetic enough about this show. Fallout Season 2 is now filming.
Good for Fallout Season 2. I will continue to yell at people to instead watch which Fallout's good, but more you people need to watch Slow Horses. Kyle, I'm still bullying you to watch Slow Horses to get you on the page of one of the most entertaining shows on TV that literally drops a season a year, and they literally the next season is going to drop in like the summer, and at that point they're already going to have the next season fully filmed and are going to be preparing to film the next season.
Fair.
Anything else we want to touch on? One more thing.
Couple more here. The Game of Thrones spinoff, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, is releasing summer 2025. It has 6 episodes. It's starring Peter Claffey and Dexter Soul Ansel as Dunk and Egg. George R.R. Martin is executive producing and very pleased with the project. This show is a comedic satire type of show in the Game of Thrones universe, so I'm very excited for that. We did get news here too. Daredevil Born Again is set 5 years after the Netflix series. So when we watch that, take that into account. And that is according to Bullseye actor Wilson Bethel.
Okay.
Do I have anything? Oh, and one last thing. Dave Filoni confirms The Mandalorian and Grogu has wrapped filming. It's releasing in theaters May 22nd, 2026.
Oh, so I just remembered something. Fantastic Four wrapped filming.
Yes.
Good. There has been no leaks. Good. That movie's releasing in July, guys. Like I did, huh? Like, why are we just now wrapping filming? Anyway,
I will say, no leaks is great. Even that's how it should
impressive. The basically the only link was the costume for the Thing.
Yeah. And I will say, since we experienced it for that horrendous thing that people want to call a fight on Netflix, I am absolutely terrified for Christmas Day NFL games on Netflix.
Our team's not playing, so we don't have to care.
That's true. That's very true. But I am terrified for what that is going to look like on Christmas Day.
Yep.
That's all we got for you guys on this episode. Make sure you're following us on the socials: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Letterboxd, StreamerSZN, and on TikTok at StreamerSZN Pod. Follow Christian at the Wiz_PHI. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed: Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star rating and review. I know we didn't go over our Spotify Wrapped. We'll do it next week. Don't worry, it's available to us.
Even more data.
Shout out to everybody that listens to us on Spotify. We greatly appreciate your support. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Get us to 900 subscribers. Get us to 1,000. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment sections. And click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And this has been another episode of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Christian, I'm KB. We're going to go be next up and try to find all the drugs in Gotham while being a ghostly witch. But until then, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.